On question number 8, it's going to be one of those where we want to look at who is correct. In this case, we're comparing Chloe and Jonas. So on Chloe, what we're going to do first is we're going to add 5 to both sides. And notice we've run into a problem. 3 plus 5 is 8. Chloe didn't add the 5 to the 3, so Chloe isn't correct. Let's go to Jonas, and we'll do the same thing. We'll add 5 to both sides. Whoa! Let's add 5 to both sides. When I say both sides, I mean all 3 sides, because it's a combined inequality. Then 3 plus 5 is 8. We did that part. The 5's cancel, so you get 2x. 7 plus 5. Oh, Jonas didn't add the 5 to the 7. So Jonas is not correct. And so neither of them are correct here, are they? So that's the correct answer. Neither is correct. And show me your work. On number 9, we'll do the same thing. I want to solve for x. So the first thing we'll do is let's subtract 1 from the middle, the right, and the left. So we'll get negative 4 is less than ax, which is less than 4. Then we'll divide everything by a, left, right, and middle. So we get negative 4 over a, which is less than x, because a is reduced, which is less than or equal to 4 over a. And since we don't know what a is, we can't graph it, but there's our solution. Now, number 10 with or, remember, you just do them separately. So the first thing I do is I will subtract 6 from both sides. Then we'll get negative 1 over a x is less than negative 5. And then what I'll do is I'm dividing by a, so I'll multiply both sides by negative a. And since we multiply by a negative, we got to flip our sign. So x, and a negative times a negative is a positive 5a. Now, on the second part, we'll subtract 2 from both sides. At that point, we'll get negative ax is greater than 6. We want to solve for x. We'll divide by negative a. And remember, flip the sign because you're divided by a negative, because a is positive. So x is less than negative 6 over a. I don't care if you write the negative out in front or with the negative 6. I wouldn't suggest you write it with the denominator, although that's technically correct. And since it's an or problem, we're just going to write those out with the word or. So we're going to say x is greater than 5a, or x is less than negative 6 over a. And there's your answer. Backwards what I typed in, but it's still the correct answer. On number 11, it's a sometimes, always, or never question. And it says, let's take a look at this one. It says the graph of a compound inequality that involves an and, well, that involves an or statement, is bounded on the left and the right by 2 values of x. Well, that's sometimes true. Involves an and. Involves an and or statement. Well, that's kind of not worded very nice, isn't it? But either way, and or is because if they overlap, you could have infinite solutions, or you could have no solutions, depending how they overlap. With an or statement, I think that's what we're getting at here. With an or, it might be all solutions if they overlap. I gave you an example here of x is greater than 2 or x is less than 5. Since 2 is to the left of 5, but I'm shading greater than 2, I'm going to include 5. When I go less than 5, I'm going to include 2, so I'm going to do everything. Now, we're going to do that same thing on number 12. Which one of these is going to be the entire number line? Well, let's start with letter A. I would divide by negative 4. I'm going to rewrite this because it's kind of hard to see. So I got negative 4p, don't need two of them, is greater than 8. So I'll divide by negative 4. P would be less than negative 2. Or, if I do 2p is less than 16, divide by 2. P is less than 8. Now, notice they're both pointing the same direction, aren't they? So there's no way it's going to be the whole number line. It's going to be start at 8 and just go to the left. That's not my whole number line. Okay, let's take a look at letter B. I've got negative 2q is greater than 6. So divide by negative 2. Q is less than negative 3. Or, if I have 2q, or, whoops, let's try that again. 2q is less than 8. I'll divide by 2. Q is less than 4. Notice, once again, they both go the same direction, so that's not the whole number line. Let's take a look at letter C. On letter C, we've got negative 2r is less than 4. So I divide by negative 2. Flip my sign. R is greater than negative 2. Now I'll do 4r is less than negative 8. So I divide by 4. R is less than negative 2. Now that, at least now we've got them going in the opposite direction. But notice neither one of them include negative 2. So it's the whole number line except negative 2, but that doesn't answer my question. So finally, let's do letter D. Notice on letter D, we've got negative s, so I'll just divide by negative 1 to start with. So I'll have s is less than negative 2. Or we have 2s is greater than negative 16. I'll divide by 2. S is greater than negative 8. Notice these two go in the opposite direction. When I go greater than negative 2, or less than negative 2, I'm going to include negative 8. When I go greater than negative 8, I'm going to include negative 2. So the only one it can be is choice D.